Hi, I'm Kelly and this is my podcast on the 12-step programme at Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm just going to have a group discussion to see how do you feel about the 12-step programme, do you know anything about it, and do you feel it's maybe outdated, how do you feel about sponsorship, just whatever you think. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Kelly. For me, I got a lot from this the 12 steps. You know, like before I went in, I felt uneducated and you know, I didn't know which way to go. But it gave me sort of like a path to go. You know.
Gives you structure.
Yeah, exactly. And the more I got into it, the more I got from it. To the point where I had an experience, you know, and for me that was the point I knew there was something there that would work, you know what I mean, and the knowledge and just carrying the message on, you know, like.
And they talk about a spiritual experience, but I know for me, I felt as if it was a psychic change.
Yeah.
For me, I totally changed. I wasn't screaming and shouting anymore. I wasn't living in my nerves. And I can talk the day and I can talk to people. What do you feel about the God thing?
Me, personally, I wouldn't say I'm not religious. I'm just not really into it, right? For me, like if I wanted to, like, I do believe there's something, right? A higher power, right, and all that, yeah. But for me, if you want to live within God, you've like yourself, you've got to live a God-like existence.
But
you know what I mean? Like be a good person. Do you know what I mean?
For me, it's just good orderly direction.
Yeah.
You know, or it could be get off drugs, or it could be dog run the other way. You know, and it's about a higher power, and I believe that it's a God within you. It's a God conscious. You know.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Does anybody else any experience on it?
Aye, Kelly, for me, I got offered when I started going to meetings in that last year. I was going to these meetings for nearly a year, and I was hearing 12 steps in the book, and somebody, this sponsor that offered me it, I just couldn't see me grasp it. But then it was like I had a kind of spiritual awakening kind of thing that when I hit rock bottom, something happened to us and I wanted to do it. And as soon as I'd done it, I'd zoned right in. But then the God thing in that, like finding a higher power in step 2 and 3, for me it was quite easy to find, because I put it down to whatever pulled me out that dark space that day, and it was coming. Do you know what I mean? Something did.
Aye,
and I was like, I didn't do that. Do you know what I mean?
A power greater than
aye,
you.
that's what it was for me, and it was. I think about that every day. And then I'll do the step 3 prayer every morning and the 7. And then see some days when I feel as if I missed that in the morning, I feel as if I have a shite day. Something's happened. And I'll drive in the morning, I'll just sit in my heat because I know I've got heart now. And then let's see, sometimes I wake up in the morning, I'm just getting ready and I do it. I have some day, for some reason. You know what I mean? It's just.
Yeah.
And I think that when you do that, for me anyway,
when
I do that in the morning, it centres yourself, and it centres yourself, and I know that for me, meditation's great for the centering myself as well, and that step 11 is prayer and meditation, and that's what centres myself, and life's good today, you know. Does anybody else have a different opinion?
Me, Kelly, I went to meetings for the first month before I came to hospital after my last relapse, and I felt as if I was going to one every single day, and then I relapsed in between the month because I've been so stressed out by going to them all. So I don't know if that's maybe what's put me kind of against going to meetings.
Do you think maybe, because I know for me myself that when I first started going to meetings, this lassie kept approaching me and she kept saying, "If you get a sponsor yet?" and I felt as if she was overpowering me, you know, and what I didn't realise that step 12 is helping others, and what she was doing there was she wanted to sponsor me, you know, but for me I didn't really want what she had because it wasn't attractive, because they say that it's no promotion, it's attraction. Do you think that's maybe what it was, John?
Probably. When I'm saying about me going that full month, I think it actually helped me, because obviously it kept me around a bit of people that was sober for that first month, and then I went into detox and then went into rehab, and I think in rehab they've got a kind of different way of teaching you, and to me I feel as if my recovery is like learning rather than going to meetings. Mine's is like learning, going
and every
educate
day,
yourself.
they say every day's a school day, you know, and I know you could days be open-minded about it, and that's all we can do is be open-minded, isn't it?
I know it does work for people, because it's proof, I've seen it in people, but it just doesn't work for me.
And that's the thing, everybody's recovery is different, you know, and I think that's what, I know for me that when people were trying to 12-step me and stuff like that, it frightened me, you know, because I didn't understand it, but what I did understand it was that they were well, and I wanted to be well, you know, so at that point I was really open to do anything, and I really was, but I think it's been able to trust somebody when we're not trusting anybody, and we'll get the woe up and you're asked, and I don't, some of yous I know doesn't know about the 12-step programme, and step 4 when we write all our resentments and all our stuff we're holding on to, we write all that down, and the step 5 we share it with the sponsor, and that was big, you know, but for me I knew that I was going to die if I didn't do something, and at that point I was willing to do anything at all. What do you think about step 4?
For me, step 4 was, well, it was hard, because you're putting yourself back into the places but put you in that position in the first place, you know, like things from the past and resentments and all that. But when I got through it, you know, like, I wouldn't say it automatically dropped, you know what I mean, but it did definitely help. I felt that pressure off my shoulders, you know what I mean.
For me, doing the step 4 was really draining, because it was like reliving it all again, and it was like when they say that we'll go about and we'll get a big rucksack home with hundreds of boulders, and it's like when you do the step 5 and you share it with God and with your sponsor, it's like letting all the boulders go, and it really was uplifting, you know, and I can see the difference, I can feel the difference in myself today. I'm good with Kelly today, you know, and that's big for me, because like I really didn't like myself anymore, you know, the guilt, shame and remorse, as they say, isn't it? Does anybody else think anything about that?
For me, it was just the same as what you said. It was like carrying a lot of baggage, and then see when it, like, I'm buzzing doing it, and then when I got into that, and my sponsor explained it to me, see, like, having to write it down, so I went away for a week myself. I couldn't find my horn to put down the paper, because it was like, I didn't want to go back to it, do you know what I mean? But then he's going through it with me and telling me it'd be good to just let it go, do you know what I mean, kind of thing. So then I went up and speaking to him about some things about it, and before I knew it, like my resentments, all that stuff, I only had so many people doing, but then let's see, when I was just having that conversation, see, before I knew it, the pen was flying. I ended up filling in like 4 or 5 sheets full of things, and like writing, and I was looking at my defects of character and what I was like, and then there's a big pattern in it. See all the sheets down, the way the sheets are, your selfishness, everything else, mine's were all ticked. Do you know what I mean? But it was like doing that, and then going on to the step 5, and just reading it back to you and stuff like that, and And then obviously coming to the end of burning the sheets, I did feel another weight right off me,
Aye,
getting all that done.
Mm-hmm.
Remembering it in a good sense rather than just getting back to the way. Obviously you were different, it was mixed emotions for me, I was drained. And it took me another week to kind of build back up after it. Going on to the next step.
Burning it was something else for me, I know, you know, and I don't know if you know, so then step 4 you write all your resentments and all that down, and then you see the patterns in your behaviour and stuff like that, and you talk to your sponsor about it and God, and then you burn it, you know, and that's you get rid of it all. And then step 5 is you get your defects, and we've all got the same 5 defects: dishonesty, selfishness, self-seeking, inconsiderate, and fear. But with that, you get a list of your assets and all, and I remember when my sponsor gave me my assets, you know, and she says, you had more than I had, and I thought, wow, you're teaching me not to be in competition, and that's what it sounded like, you know. And for me, I used to hear people say, we're looking for a sponsor, watch their feet match their mouth and all that, and that's being able to pick a sponsor who, you know, loves the programme and works the programme in their life every day, you know, because I felt as if when I first got, and I've got a new sponsor now, but when I first got my first sponsor, I felt as if when I had the growth in that, I felt as if I was attracted to outside stuff, you know, because she worked, she had a good job, she had her own business, she was getting married, she had a nice car, and I feel as if now that I've had the growth and understand myself a bit more, that that's what I was attracted to. It wasn't actually how she went about her life, you know, and my sponsor I've got today is a beautiful person, and she's into vibrations and the universe and all this kind of stuff, and I'm just learning about that, but it's a great way of life, you know. And for me, I know a lot of people struggle with, they want to do the programme and stuff like that, and they can be on medication and stuff like that, and I think maybe you have some experience on that now, do you?
Yeah, I've not been able to work the steps yet because I'm still on a prescription, but I've done the first step when I was in treatment, so I've got some experience with that, and I might do steps 1 to 3 and then do them again when I come off a script, so there's always a way around it, I suppose. But yeah.
And like, I think when we're doing the programme, it's because they say that you need to have a foggy brain and all that kind of stuff, you know, but I mean it gives you something to work forward to, do you think so now?
Yeah, definitely. It gives me another reason to make me want to come off it. Do you know what I mean? So it gives me a motivator to start coming off that.
Thanks. No, Lorraine, what about you? Do you think that one day you would maybe want to do it?
I don't know. I've been going to maybe about 25 years. It's never been appealing to me. So I've still not got it right doing everything in my life. But I suppose I'm a bit more open-minded than I've ever been. And I'm doing this 12 steps with Dell, which is quite good. It's giving you an insight into it. But I wouldn't say never, whereas before I hold it. Never, no for me, ain't doing it, don't want to know, which is in here.
But then maybe you're thinking now that, well, I've got 25 years in all button which no worked and what I no tried, you know, and it's, I know for me that it was, I would have did anything by that point, you know, and when I did step 1 and I learned that step 1 was about powerless and unmanageability, and I thought, wow, how did I not know that, you know, because I was always never been able to manage my life. I was always powerless when it came to drinking drugs, you know, but everybody's different and everybody's recovery is different,
For me, like, I just, like with the steps, really, I was, like when I went to rehab, I was just lucky that I went to a 12-step rehab, right? I mean, I'd heard of it before, but where I stayed, it wasn't there, you know, so it was in the back of my mind. But when I got there, I got to like understand, like especially with step 1, you know what I mean, and then it sort of started to make sense. I had the gift, same as you, the gift of desperation and all that, and I wanted to give it my all. And I was in a good place to do it, you know what I mean? So yeah, the steps gave me more knowledge about my addiction and how to keep your mind open, and it's never like, all I can say is it's definitely helped, you know what I mean? Like I've definitely got a different mindset, you know what I mean? Like I'm kinder to people.
It makes you understand the disease, you know, and my brother's been in fellowship for, well, he's been clean for 12 years, and I remember like when I would hear it was a disease, an illness and stuff like that, I really just thought that was a cop-out, but I would have went with it because if it was keeping my brother clean and that, I would have went with it, and you know, and when it started, I started to understand what was the matter with me and stuff like that. It was like, wow, it was really, really powerful, you know, and I sponsored somebody for a couple of weeks, right, and I went through the doctor's opinion with them, and see when I opened up that book with him, I felt the power. The power within that was just something else, you know, and hopefully that'll go on to help other people, you know, and that's how it works, is like I get a way to keep it, you know. Do you
Can
want
I ask you something, Kelly? See, get back to about like medication, people need to be abstinent. You need to be abstinent to do your 12-step programme.
Aye.
So what about if people are needing medication for mental health or pain or anything?
That's different.
Pain.
If you're on medication that the doctor prescribes to you and you take it the way the doctor prescribes to you, but really that's, you need to be comfortable with that, because it's about you, it's not about all these other people, but
it's just
really
because I've known people that are doing 12-step programme and they've had like really severe back pain or neck pain or whatever, and they'll just take paracetamol and they'll be like, why do you want to take a cup of cold? Well, not like I am on a 12-step programme. Why suffer from pain?
Aye, and I totally
physically?
get that, John, but for my own understanding, it is if you're taking medication the doctor prescribes to you and you're taking it properly, I don't think there's a problem with that, because I know somebody who works the 12-step programme and their own antidepressants, you know, and I think everybody's different. And everybody is different, you know. I mean, so imagine we're all the same.
I was just wondering if you had to take any drugs at all before you could do like a 12-step programme.
Well, that is my understanding, but then if you get sick, it's like, so if you break your leg and you go to you go to a trauma doctor, they're going to put a stockie on, it's like saying, and they give you pain relief, you know. But I think it's really to do with long-term medication, John, and I think it's like, if you can live without that medication and it's not going to affect you physically, mentally, emotionally, you know. But it comes down to again that we're all different, you know.
There's no doctors.
It's like,
People aren't no doctors, sponsors.
And that's a good one, Jan, because people do actually think that they're...
Oh, I know they do.
And I think, do you think that people just have too much an opinion on other people's stuff? And I think that's what it comes down to, and it's like, when you're in the jail, everybody's like jail lawyers, you know, and I think everybody always has an opinion, you know, and it's trying to keep your opinion with yourself, and you learn that in the 12-step programme. Is like, it's really nothing to do with you, you know. Do you want
I'm
to
at the
go through
stage
that?
now where I'm actually thinking about starting the 12 steps, but as John was saying about the medication, I've just got put on new antidepressants, and somebody told me I'll not get took through the steps, but it just depends on the sponsors, I suppose, doesn't it? But that's the only thing that's kind of, I would like to do this 12 steps, but that's the only thing that's kind of holding me back, you know. And I'm nowhere near ready for coming off the tablets. I need to stay on my antidepressants.
I don't think, well, in my experience for the fellowship I go to, I don't think you have to be off medication.
Certain ones,
there are certain
these are ones with sedatives in them at night, so
It's more
it helps you
script.
sleep.
Like
Yeah.
if you're on opiate replacement
I know, but
medication, that's more what
The
that's
lassie
about.
was saying that she was on these and couldn't get sponsored with them, so she had to change them or something. But that's the only thing that stopped me. But I think it's just the day you need to look and see if anybody's willing to take you on. It's up to them,
and
isn't it? It's their
it's down to
discretion.
that person. But I know I was talking to a lassie a couple of weeks ago, and she, as I say, she works the 12-step programme in her life, and she was saying, and she works in a rehab facility, and she was saying she was on antidepressants and she was on a course, and she was feeling as if she was too tired on the course and all that, and she went to the doctor and says, like, listen, I might be too up, and she spoke to her sponsor about it. And I think it's all what's right for you, and as long as you're not over medicating yourself, and talking to your sponsor, and connecting, and because it's, you said, people do have too much opinion on it, and people are the doctors, you know.
Yeah,
But
that's just life, isn't it, really? That's
nobody's got the right to tell anybody that they couldn't be taking mental health medication and stuff like that, you know. But great conversation.
Aye,
hmm
fantastic. Thank you, Kelly.
Is anybody else getting?
Yeah, I was just going to say about like the medication treatment and that. Like I done the 12 steps and then I got out and I relapsed and then I had to go into methadone and then I went on to Buvidal, and I suppose I was sort of putting pressure on myself, you know, because I sort of like knew better, you know what I mean, and I was working down, and it was catching up with me, and just lately I've had to go back up again, and I feel that I've cheated. Do you know what I mean? But because I was putting pressure on myself, do you know what I mean?
And we're our own biggest critics, Jimmy, innit? But you know what? We need to keep ourselves safe. You know,
and that's the
and
thing.
that's a priority.
You know, like I never reached out to pick up anything like that. I phoned them and
Do you think, and I know for me, see the reaching out part and saying I need help and going to your sponsor and saying this is how I'm feeling and that's how I'm feeling, and do you know what, see once you get into a pattern of just doing that all the time, it gets a lot easier, do you know, because I know that we just don't, we're frightened. And that's what it comes down to, we're frightened.
a lot of fear.
Fear, and we're fear-based, you know.
Because for me, I know what the alternative is. Do you know what I mean? And you know, I'm determined. You know,
Okay.
definitely. And you know, like it takes time. You know.
That's it. And all you can do is be you, Jimmy. And do you know what? I do H&I, which is hospitals and institutions, and I take the meeting into the 218, and it's a women's criminal justice building in the town, and at Bath Street, and I shared for them the other week, and what I opened it with is, you know what, it's being able to be honest, you know, and honesty is a big one, and you know what, it's being able to be honest with ourselves, you know. And that was really big for me, because I didn't know what honesty was at the end of my using, you know, and it was just lying and cheating and stealing and it was horrible.
Yeah, that is horrible.
Is anybody anything else they want to say?
I really enjoyed the podcast, Kelly.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really did.
Thank you for taking part. I really appreciate it, and it was a really good. I really enjoyed it to get other people's points of views and stuff like that. Thank you.
It took so